Make sure you check out the lineup with Dave Prodan. He's had guests like Peter Townend, Debbie Beecham, Felipe Toledo and Coco Ho. The Felipe Toledo one, that's his most recent. Really candid discussion. Brings up some great insights into Felipe's family life, and on the eve of a big world title showdown, touches on some of that as well. So check it out.
Very insightful, and you've got that time to probe and to learn things you may not have ordinarily known. Bronte Macaulay up and running.
Well, last heat of the seeding round sees Bronte Macaulay up against Tatiana Weston-Webb and Johanne Defay. Man, Bronte absolutely attacking the end section there and has that low centre of gravity to ride through out of that manoeuvre.
You can see Bronte kind of doing what you were referring to a little earlier about hitting that closeout section and not necessarily looking for the perfect wave, but looking for the big hits. And that second hit into the closeout was nicely done. It was late, it was critical.
Bronte Macaulay just finishing off a ride there on the inside in the last heat of the seeding round, and now Johanne Defay gets her opportunity. Always strong when we get to those reef break locations. A fearless competitor who has never fallen out of the top 10 on the championship tour. She's had some big results, a few wins, and she's chasing another one here in the final event of the season. Ronnie Blakey with Barton Lynch. This will be a good one, Barton. Tatiana Weston-Webb employing the services of Granger Larson, a local surfer who never misses a good day here at the Bay.
Again, it wasn't such a big wave, but it was a start. Johanne Defay, beautiful first snap. Love that style of hers. And again, this wave goes a little bit fuller on the shoulder. Doesn't offer her much in here. She continues to work away at it to show completion, show control. Little foam climb there just to finish up. And then making her way over to get the jet ski assist. Need the consistency to threaten for a world title. Here she goes.
Tatiana dropping to the bottom of this one. Wave standing up. Nice backhand jam to get started. Love the way she's just fading back to set up these critical turns. And unleashing a lot of water there. Clean flow. Has picked off a nice wave there. But didn't have that bump on the face. She wasn't having to survive tricky sections on the wave throughout this ride. Was really able to go rail to rail.
Absolutely. Off the bottom, off the top. Nice and tight in the critical sections of the wave. We talk about, as we see the replay, we talk about how length of ride isn't important. The more you do, the better, as long as it's got that quality in there as well. Tatiana, that one's a bit of a rounder, wider snap, but this turn here, Ronnie, straight up into the pocket, throwing spray. Another little cut down here to get away from that closeout section and to make sure the completion was there, because she respected the work that she'd already done. Realised that some good points were going to come her way. She didn't want to spoil it with a fall-off.
Well, a lot of the venues, we can kind of gauge how critical a manoeuvre is in its placement by whether the surfer gets tangled up in the whitewater just a little bit each time they're coming out of those major turns. This wave a little different because it's side-winding across that reef. The foam ball's actually pushing out onto the open face.
And Audrey Steinman Lane, the caddy there. The Steinman Lane girls flew all the way from Australia to support her. Tatiana in and out.
Here we go. Bronte, nice section there.
Ooh.
Dealing with all the bumps beautifully at the moment. Another turn. Just really patient off the bottom to set up those major manoeuvres. Quality those turns are when executed. Bronte Macaulay just did a couple of beautiful backhand jams.
First snap was right there in the pocket, little horizontal out of the top, which meant that she ended up right where she needed to be for that one. A couple of combinations into the third. There's that 717 as a comparison.
Potentially the best of the heat, waiting for the numbers to come through for her. Right behind her in the blue is Johanne Defay. Nice swoop off the top.
Like I said, sitting on that 473, she opened up her campaign.
Just adding any extra she can down the line. Tricky section to play with on the inside there. But Johanne Defay, it's her second decent ride. But I love what I saw from Bronte.
Yeah, great surfing and really consistent performances across the board in this heat so far to start this heat. We've seen other heats kind of take a little bit of time to kind of get settled and get some keeper scores. My gut feeling is that could be a little bit higher than Tatiana's. Be interesting to see very similar rides. We see Johanne snapping out of the top, and then this one didn't really have any moments that wowed you, did they? They didn't grab you, whereby Bronte's definitely had those moments that you're looking for. Watch when she comes around this little corner of the whitewater. I wondered if there was an opportunity just to pull into a little cover-up barrel there too. Tatiana.
And Tatiana taking her chance. She wants to find a backup and just shore up one of those top 2 spots if she can, or at least apply some pressure to the surfer that's chasing down one of those positions. Just gets ankle tapped by that whitewater and goes down.
As it threw on the inside. Got to get creative today and try and create opportunity where other people might not see it.
This is shaping up for a really close finish though, this heat. All the surfers with some pretty decent rides. Tatiana finding another one here. We're seeing some excellent scores starting to drop as we go to live action once again. Bronte finding another wave here. Great rhythm. Seems to be absorbing all the bumps in the face of these waves beautifully with that low centre of gravity. You can see her knees working overtime. Not going to get a huge number out of that ride, but she'll be happy when she hears the score drop.
Southwest of Australia, as we see the replay, they're used to that raw open ocean swell, and you can see that comfort coming into the approach that Bronte's employing here. This is her second score. That 4.73, I think, has gone those 2 big turns on that big face.
And so yeah, that was definitely part of the plan, was just to go further and further because the current's really strong, and if you can get up there and then it washes you down just enough to be right in that spot to get the very edge of that white water from the end of subs and coconuts.
Love that. Well, here we go. Back to live action now. Johanne Defay. She is in 3rd spot. She needs a number. A 5.58 required to get into a position to qualify for the round of 16. Couple of decent turns on the outside. It's like the sun's starting to pop here for a moment. See if we're going to see a replay of Johanne Defay's last ride. And she was chasing number to get into the top 2 here.
Nice snap out of the top, nice green face, and it's amazing the difference a little bit of sunshine can make.
It's off some of that wind and cleans conditions up. Bronte just in rhythm at the moment. Beautiful redirect up into the lip there. Getting that board vertical. Working this one over through to the inside. Trying to improve on a 7 though. It's going to be hard to do with that one.
Couple of nice turns though, and just continuing to show the confidence and a comfort level that hasn't been so obvious for everyone today. Cleans the conditions up almost instantly, and here's Bronte on the one behind. Nice vertical snap. Just looking calm and controlled, and with those 2 scores already in your account, you don't often get that ability to just kind of almost cruise and enjoy it because you're in such a solid position. Be looking out wide into the channel to see what the wall of that particular wave is doing.
There's Tatiana. Swoops into this one. First section stands up pretty nicely. The wave barreling. Tatiana on the wrong side of that tube though. Just pushed out in front.
And it was almost like a blocking move to go that way. May not even take, because you think it's such a good one, you just don't want to take the risk that your opponent will get the score they need. And with Johanne only needing a 5.5, always want to be underneath that lip and dropping in without having to come from behind and over and in.
Well, Johanne Defay under this one. And looking to set up the barrel right on the inside. Doesn't find cover, but just riding through that bowling section.
It looks like a little bit of a magic moment going on in this heat compared to earlier today.
Another quick wave there for Bronte Macaulay, who's on a very solid heat score total at the moment, 15.67.
That momentum going forward just, well, I suppose in a sense ruined that wave. So an unfortunate fall, another unfortunate fall for Johanne as she's scrapping to try and find that 5.1. Definitely had the opportunity on that other wave though.
But it's never easy. There's some big names in the elimination round. What a great performance from the surfer hailing from Western Australia. 15.67, one of the biggest numbers that we've seen all day. We'll take a quick break. When we return, we'll get the elimination round underway with Joe Topel and Martin Potter.